Hey folks, have you guys ever wanted to train dogs like a professional dog trainer? Well, if so, then this series is for you. We've been going over our 12 pillars of dog training, how to properly think like a professional dog trainer. And today we are going to cover pillars 7, 8, and 9. But before we get into that, if you like this video and you're excited about this content, please click the like button below. Please subscribe if you haven't already so that you can get our weekly training videos that come out every Tuesday, and share this with a friend who you think might be interested in it. All right, so let's get into pillars 7, 8, and 9 of the 12 pillars of dog training. Pillar number 7 is dogs are not humans. Now, a lot of people kind of laugh at that and say, oh yeah, that's obvious, dogs aren't humans. And yet they refer to their dogs as their children, or they treat them better than they treat other human beings, or they say things like, I'd rather be around my dogs than other people. And I understand and get all of that. But we need to understand that we dishonor the dog when we treat them like something they're not. Okay, so if we treat the dog like it was an elephant, that would be dishonoring to the dog. If we treat it like a cat, that would be dishonoring to the dog. If we treat it like a human, that is dishonoring to the dog. We honor the dogs best when we treat them like what they are. They are dogs. They're wonderful, I love them, but they are not human beings. Now, pillar number 8 is closely related to that, and that is that dogs do not think humans are dogs. So I won't get into all the details right now. I've got another video out about it, about the misconceptions of wolves and how a lot of the early training philosophies that a lot of people still think of as mainstream were based in really faulty research and observations. However, I'll just say here, we are not the alpha in a pack with our dogs, okay? That's a faulty way of thinking about it. We are human beings, they are dogs. We have authority over the dogs, we take authority over the dogs, but we treat them humanely, with respect. We regard their life, which means that we want them to have a good and a long life. But we also need to be careful that we don't start trying to be a part of their pack, because we're not. Do you really think a dog looks at a human being and thinks, oh, that's another dog? No, they treat dogs differently than they treat us. Watch them run in a group together, watch them interact. They do not interact with us that way. They interact differently because they recognize that we are different. Even within the packs, you'll see a hierarchy, right? Within a group of dogs, if you have a bunch of dogs and you see them running around, Fouille Blipe, and you see them running around, you will notice that certain dogs are dominant and other dogs are not as dominant. Now, that still really doesn't get fully into the whole alpha member of a pack and things like that, which again, we'll talk about in other videos, but they don't treat us that way. Right? They treat us differently. They engage with us, they interact with us differently. That's very important to remember. We're not alphas. We simply give commands. We expect obedience to those commands. There is a correction if the obedience is not given, and there is lots of praise if the obedience is given. Dogs do not interact with one another in that manner. Okay, so that's really important to remember. And then the last one, and these all kind of go together, is dogs, this is pillar number 9, dogs are not perfect. Right now, before we get into that though, if you've been liking this video, please comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. If you disagree, that's great. I'd love to have the conversation with you and explain our perspective. If you agree, I'd love to know that as well. And if you have other thoughts, please share those with us below in the comments. Make sure you click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with someone you think would enjoy it. All right, so pillar number 9, dogs are not perfect. At the end of the day, we have to remember they are dogs. They're a creature, right? Just like us, just like everything else. They're not a robot, they're not a machine. They don't just boom, boom, boom based on the input that's given to them. They are largely input driven, right? So when we do certain things, it drives them to do certain things, but they are not perfect. They're not going to do exactly the same thing every single time. And if someone has tried to train their dog to do that, that dog is not going to be functional in real life, in the real world. Right? They might be functional on a field so they can do a video or something like that. But when you start moving in real life is unscripted. Real life is dynamic. It's constantly moving, it's constantly changing. we and our dogs have to be able to engage a dynamic environment. All right, so we don't expect our dogs to be robotic, we don't expect them to be perfect, but we do expect them to be obedient, to listen to our voices, to engage with us, to move in a way that's complementary, and all of those things come around to creating a dog that's highly, highly functional, whether we're talking about having a wonderful family pet, or whether we're talking about having a pet family or a personal or an executive protection dog, or whether we're talking about military and police working dogs, okay? In all of these settings, we need to understand dogs are not perfect. They're gonna make mistakes too. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you've enjoyed it, I would encourage you to check out our other platforms where we have tons of other content. We are on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, our dog sales company is Fortress Canine, and you can find us at Fortress Canine Dogs on Facebook and at Fortress Canine on Instagram. And our dog training company is Canine Academy, and you can find us at Canine Academy Online on both of those platforms. So it's Canine, the letter K, the number 9, Academy Online on both Facebook and Instagram. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.